Hello, everyone! Gosh, I'm super excited. Okay, so my next guest, I actually have no idea how to introduce her. She is an amazing, amazing performer. She has been in so many things, from film to TV, theatre, crazy. She is an outstanding actress, and the pleasure was all mine. Please take a listen to my interview with actress Annette Badland. Growing up, did you ever have the ambition to become an actor, or did you want to do something else?
When I was very young, I wanted to be a nurse. But
Okay.
I'd be a bit like Nurse Ratched. You know, you're all right with me for the first 3 days, and I'll take care of you and feed you and look after you. But if you're not getting any better, then I get a bit stern. Get up, get moving. We're over this now. I'm sorry.
Someone take care of you.
So thank goodness I decided to act. It was like a lot of actors, Parents' Day. And I felt the audience for the first time. I was enacting a character. My class chanted a poem called Meg's Merrilies, and I got to play the character. And I suddenly realized I could make them laugh and I could stop them laughing. And that, I'm an only child, so what a huge gift. You kind of go, oh. Influence over all these people. Yes. So magic.
Yeah.
And that was when I was about 10, and then when I was at secondary school, sort of talked to the drama school teacher and the drama teacher and my English teacher, and started to take external exams, Lambda external exams. I don't know if they still exist. Yep. Because I was nowhere near the youth theatre, the National Youth Theatre, so it was too hard to go and travel and be part of that. So that's kind of how I started. And school plays, and the WI asked me to go and do something with them. They needed a teenage girl, so off I went and did that. So.
Amazing. So what would you say was the journey to becoming an actor? How do you think it's progressed? How do you think you've got to where you are now?
Oh gosh, just not giving in, keeping going, doing lots of different things. Some actors won't. They go, no, I just want to do film, or I only do theatre. And I think because my career has been quite varied and I enjoy radio and telly and things, I think that then puts you in a lot of spheres. So you're more likely to be asked to do stuff because you're just known in more worlds.
Of course.
Theatre's my first love, and that's where I started. But and I think radio is very like film, really. That they are very close because they are very immediate and very tight. They're kind of very emotional and into one another. So I just enjoy all the media. So I suppose that's kind of kept me. That's perpetuated. If there's nothing happening in theatre, a telly might ask, or a radio comes in, or whatever.
Yeah. And you said that theatre was your first love. Can you remember your first theatrical performance?
Professionally, it was weekly rep. When I went to drama school, my best friend there, Peter Durkin, went off for the summer break to be in weekly rep at Southwold. And I went home to my parents. I can't remember if I had a job or not. I don't think I did. And he sent me a telegram, because I am that old that telegrams used to come. And it just said, female ASM awful, bring own cap and apron. So I got a job in weekly rep. And at that time, you had to have, it was a catch-22. You had to have an equity card to get a job, and you had to get a job to get an equity card. So this was a huge gift. But I left drama school with an equity card, or provisional.
Yeah.
But my first word on stage was merde, because I was the maid in Private Lives, and she comes on and trips over something, and so it's merde, qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? But also I was winding in the curtain and providing the props, and because it was weekly rep, a lot of the time I said more than the actors. I'd be up in the flies on the book, and they'd dry, and I'd be lobbing the cue over the balustrade to them. So yeah, that was my first, experience on a professional stage. And then I went on to be in the Actors Company when I left drama school, and played Mole in Toad of Toad Hall, and then to the RSC. So that's where I'd really wanted to be. I'm a Brummie, so I'd gone to Stratford to see plays, and so really wanted to be I love Shakespeare, so I wanted to be in the RSC and things. And there I was within, sort of 6 months of leaving drama school.
Wow, that's incredible. And did you ever think that was going to happen? Was that your plan, or was it just see what happened, take each day as it comes?
I think I suppose that's what I wanted. So no, at that stage, I think now you can't plan a career. I think you can't, and I never did that, but I knew I wanted to work there. So had written to them, and I wrote loads of letters when I left drama school. So pestered them a bit, I guess.
Yeah.
And being in the Actors Company, Trevor Nunn had been to see us, and so I don't think I'd have let them go. They wouldn't have got away with not having me.
No, you were going to be there whether they wanted you there or not.
Correct.
Is particularly, in a lot of industries, but particularly within this industry, you have to pester and you have to keep on at people, because there are so many of us. You can, without realizing, just slip through the net, or you can, without realizing, somebody's passed you by. And I'm a great advocate for that. I say this to people all the time. They say, oh, so you finally got to talk to me then? And I'm like, yep. You do, if you really want to be somewhere, or want to get to speak to someone, or play a role, or even see a show, then you will. It might not be at this particular time, but you will, because if you really want it, that's what drives you, isn't it?
Yeah, I used to send lots of postcards as well, art postcards, or just anything I thought was appropriate to a director, and just made it personal, rather, because they must get so, God knows now. I think it's much harder for you. And we had rep, and sadly we're going to have fewer reps now. We're already losing them. But yes, I would actually try and make a personal contact and stick out a bit from the crowd, because they're just inundated with actors wanting to work.
Yeah.
So just finding a way to make it your own. I'm not very good at networking. I'm not very at parties, or I'd rather just drink the wine and have a laugh. So I'm not very good at that. So yes, a little postcard.
Yeah, that's great. Like you say, you need something that gets them to stick in.
Yeah.
And would you say over this time period that has been your standout roles, do you think? Have they been in TV or theatre? Bit of both?
Bit of both, I think. I loved Sadie May in Little Voice. The play was called The Rise and Fall of Little Voice. Jane Horrocks and Alison Steadman, written by Jim Cartwright, who had seemingly written sort of grubby reality, but it was poetry. It was wonderful stuff. Pete Postlethwaite was in it too. And then Jane and I did the film subsequently. But it's one of those things. It's rare that all the elements come together and are right. You get a play, but the director's not so hot, or you don't get on with an actor, or it's all fantastic, but the venue's not brilliant and no one's coming to see it. So Little Voice was sort of consummate. It just We started at what was then the Cottesloe and is now the Dorfman. We took it into the Aldwych, and the writing was wonderful, and we all got on, and Sam Mendes directed it, and it was just one of those little gems that you hold in the palm of your hand. Yeah, and I was nominated for an Olivier for it, and not to blow my own trumpet, but that a part that was basically 12 OKs and a few sentences could take an audience. And I liked very much the journey that we went on together, because they laughed at her to begin with, and by the end they were laughing with her and had empathy, and you know, I just loved the character, and I liked that I could take the audience on that journey, as well as dancing and running up walls and having a thoroughly good time.
Yeah, brilliant. I think that's the thing, isn't it? When you can play a character that's so in depth, and there's so much to them, you know, it's like an onion, isn't it? Peeling away. And like you said, this is what the audience get from the moment you step on stage. But by the end of it, look at the difference in their reaction to what you've portrayed. That's incredible.
Yeah, I always look for that in a part. I always think there's no point in not having as many facets as you can find. And if I'm playing a villain, I try and find the reason why, and the soft points, and you know, and if I'm playing someone generous and kind, what is the opposite in their character that makes them a full human being? Because none of us are one line. We're all influenced and multifaceted. So yeah, why not try and discover it?
Absolutely. And everyone says that, don't they? You know, oh, you're playing the villain part. Oh, how, you know, how brilliant, how meaty for you. But there's, like you say, there's always a reason behind why they are how they are. And also, what is their softer side? Because there will be one.
Yeah.
It might not come out in you know, in its entirety, but there will be moments, nuances of that part of them.
Yeah. You know, Doctor Who, the part of Margaret Blaine that I played in Doctor Who, you know, she was pretty awful, but she was lonely, and you know, and Babe in EastEnders, she'd never been loved, you know, because people go, oh, she was horrible, but all her life she'd never been loved, or she would love someone and they'd never love her back, and it made her resentful and unpleasant, and you know, and that's what I felt about. That's what I grew for her from clues. I tend not to make it up. You look for clues in the script, you look for what other people say about you, you know, you find it out that way. So yes, just try very hard to make it as rich as possible, and then it's better for you, it's better for the audience. I love the research. I love in theatre, it's what you don't tend to get in telly. The time to research and investigate, often as a company and then on your own character. I think that's so enriching, and just love that work.
Yeah, you can play with it a lot more, can't you, in theatre? You've got that rehearsal period, like you say, you can go home and do your research, you can play with it with, you know, your colleagues, your cast members, the director. You've got that essence of time, whereas a lot of the time you don't have that when you're, you know, on the TV. It's
no, and you have immediacy in performance. It will change every night. It has to, because you're all living, breathing creatures, and the audience take on their character. You know, they'll be different on different nights. So that all feeds into it, or someone drops a prop, or forgets a line, or falls over. You know, it's so you have to be alive when it's happening. Otherwise, don't bother. There'd be no point.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you've got to know that when you're within theatre, right? That's what you're investing in. You know, when you're stepping on that stage, some part of whatever's happened to you that day, or whatever you're feeling, or whatever, some part of that has to come into the character. Yeah. You know, it's just what happens. That's the natural. So like you say, it does then feed so many different emotions, and it will play. Somebody will see it on a Wednesday night and then see it on a Thursday night and go But that's what's brilliant about it.
Yeah. It may not be radically different, but people, it will alter. It will change. Emphases will, where you press the button, the trigger for something will be different. Matthew Lloyd, who I worked with at Hampstead Theatre and then did Titania at Leicester with him, when we were doing Slavs in Hampstead, which was a Tony Kushner play, he used to say, don't try and block the world out. This is not this thing called Slavs, this world you give to others at 7:30 is inevitably, as you've said, influenced by what you've heard on the news. It's in you. So don't try and just push it away, embrace it. Just try and just be part of what's happening, and don't think, I've got to, this and this. It will be in you. Don't fight it. It's a bit like meditation. It just occurred to me, it's like meditation where, if it's not working, you can't go, you've just got to wait till it comes back, allow the thoughts in and let them go away again.
So we've said that is very different to TV. What do you think are the other differences or similarities to, working for TV and theatre?
TV and film is about the director and the editor and their choices, and you can, your character is your responsibility, and you can give them that, but they can cut it that it has an entirely different feel to it and meaning and interpretation. So that's the huge difference, I guess. And the repetition in the moment, I suppose. Theatre, you repeat and repeat for 6 weeks, which some people can't stand, or you're in a long season in rep or whatever, and they go, oh God, not this play again, I can't do this. But with filming, it is 6 times immediately, and inevitably where you feel right, the plane goes over, or the boom operator drops their boom, or nothing against boom operators, they're wonderful people, but sound, oh no, the bracelet was jangling, it's no good for us, or the camera was, I just didn't quite get that, and you do it again. So that's frustrating. It's brilliant when it comes together. It's I did a film a long time ago, an Ian McEwan's short story that he adapted for Film on 4, and called Last Day of Summer, and it was taken from a short story in an anthology he's got called First Love, Last Rites. And that was another bit like Little Voice. It all came together. And the cameraman was Nick Noland, who went on to work with Spielberg and people. But that often was like dancing. He was just, because he'd have Steadicam, and he was part of the scene. So it wasn't that, that eye that comes in and has a jolly good look into your eye to see whether you're telling the truth or not. Yes. And you've got to stand on your left foot and have your arm round here at the same time and appear relaxed. But that was great. But often I find, it's just not yours. Theatre is for everybody in that room at that time. Yeah. And film is wonderful. I love watching film and I do enjoy film, but it's a process. It's everybody making a contribution and it not necessarily being taken by the actor. I seem to have a frog in my throat today. I apologise. I was rehearsing this morning, so I think I've got a bit tired. I've been crying and I've been thinking, oh yes, it's been a very emotional morning.
No worries at all, don't worry. So if you yourself were given creative control, would you make a film or a TV episode, or you do a stage show? And do you think, who do you think you'd want to be in it or produce it, be involved in the whole thing?
I guess probably theatre.
Yeah.
I don't have any stories that I particularly want to tell at the moment, so I can't say, I would do this, or this. this. Tom Hardy would be quite good to have in anything.
Yep.
Me as Lady M and he as himself, maybe. I don't know. I don't have aspirations to direct, or I think I'd be very bossy. I think I'd...
That's what you need to be.
Yes, but without subtlety. Good directors can nurture, and I think I'd be, oh no, do it like me. Stop doing that. This is how you should do it. Which would be
the director and the actor at the same time. Look, you know, you're useless. I'll do it.
Yes. So I don't know, but I suspect it would be theatre.
Yeah.
That's. Yeah.
And talk us through the most bizarre thing that you've ever had. Has there been a most bizarre thing that you've ever had to do on set or in a rehearsal, or something that's just really stuck in your mind? How did I do that, or why did I do that? Or
I had to have in a film ants crawl across my face into my mouth and all of that, which took an awful lot.
That sounds awful.
And I didn't spit them out or go. I had to pretend I was asleep, and they were just, they progressed over my face, and so that's not bizarre particularly, but took a lot of
great strength.
Great strength of character not to twitch and I don't want to do it.
Oh, that's the thing, when there's anything by your face you cannot help, but you just can't. Natural instinct. Oof.
Yeah. And I've been up to my knees in in mud, but nothing. I've had hair that's been 4 feet high, that I'm a little bit bald still from where they had to sort of secure the wig. I think that's what caused it. I'm going to say that's what caused it, but it's just this great big high hairdo. On a beach, not easy to keep upright, I tell you. But
and clean with the sand and the sea and the cling film it.
Yeah. So that. I suppose I've done lots of stuff really.
Yeah.
But they're just little incidences that.
The things that are coming to mind.
Yeah.
Happen tonight. You'll be sat having your tea.
Oh yes. Why didn't I tell them about the time I was on the trapeze? How did I forget that?
I love it. That's fantastic. So if you were throwing a dinner party, firstly, would there be a theme? Also, who would you invite? It can be anyone in the world, whoever.
Well, I thought about this because I thought immediately, especially being as we are at the moment, my friends that I haven't seen and have all of that. I don't have themed dinner parties, but then I thought, I could have a ladies' literary lunch.
Oh, lovely.
And I could invite people like Gertrude Stein and Iris Murdoch and Virginia Woolf. And then because it was Virginia Woolf, maybe she'd bring Vita Sackville West. And then I could ask her about the garden as well. So, and then I thought for devilment and delight, I'd throw Russell T Davies in there as well. So I think it would be a very jolly affair, and we'd have a collation, of meats and cheeses and olives and the best olive oil and a big kind of vat of bottles of rosé and anything else they wanted, so that I didn't have to worry about the cooking. It would all just be open and generous. Gertrude Stein I played last year, and I didn't expect to fall in love with her. She's scared, the perceived, idea of what she was, but maybe I could get her to sing the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, which was her favourite song. Iris Murdoch, she had a collection of beer mats. Maybe she'd bring, things you don't expect.
Yeah.
I would love all of that. And Gertrude Stein, because she had a great relationship with Picasso, and you know, I could have had Picasso, I suppose, who I would love to meet, but well, Gertrude Stein would frighten me as well, but I think Picasso would scare me terrifically, whereas if Gertrude had, you know, some wine and some company, she might tolerate me for a wee while.
This sounds like a fantastic dinner party, and I feel like you've really thought about this.
And then I thought Russell would just be open to everybody, and he's so funny and generous, and he'd delight in all those fascinating women. Muriel Spark, I thought, could come along, because I was the Jean Brodie one. So I thought all these ladies that, you know, Afra Ben could come, female playwright, you know.
It wouldn't be able to have it inside. It would have to be a garden party.
I think it would have to be large. Debbie Horsfield, whose series I've loved, you know, being in, and like her writing, and I think they would have a very vivacious kind of, and it might get cantankerous, and it might, you know, all sorts of things could happen.
But that's the beauty of it, right? To just
exactly
unfold.
Yes, and I could delight in them all, and not, you know, have to worry. Or, you know.
Brilliant. Sounds fantastic.
It'd have to be cake, wouldn't it? To have to be.
Oh God.
Sweet delights as well. Strawberries and cream and cake and.
I think I'm.
Are you coming? Are you going to come?
I think I'm inviting myself. Yeah, it sounds a treat.
Yeah, I hope so.
So, if you were to choose your favourite animal, what do you think it would be? Are you an animal lover?
Yes, and this is really hard. I like horses. I like lots of things. Well, every girl likes a horse, don't you? Little Thelwell girls. I want a horse. I want a pony. We lived in a flat in Birmingham. It was a ground floor flat. But I pestered my poor parents who, you know, couldn't afford, I don't know, a picture of a pony. You know, we could keep one in the car. We really could, and it would be all right, and it would eat the grass, and it would be fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love that.
Dogs I love, but my partner doesn't. So we've had cats who I've grown to love them.
Yeah.
Oh, I like all sorts of that. So all the big cats I love, you know, jaguars and tigers and all the lions and oh my. So many creatures I love. Whales, I love whales. Just glorious things.
Is there a particular animal you'd love to see in their natural habitat?
I guess I've always wanted to go to India. I've never been to India, so you'd see Bengal tigers and things there.
Stunning.
Like that, yeah.
And if you could travel back in time to any time period, what would you choose? Where would you choose to go?
Elizabethan.
Okay. That was a definite.
Yeah, I've always, I think Elizabeth was extraordinary. You've got Shakespeare. It's, I don't think it was very easy for a lot of people, but this country was moving on and changing, and all sorts of things were happening that were, you know, enormous for society. And I think it was a very rich time. Of course, I'd end up being the maid with her hands in the washing up bowl, so it might not be too glorious, you know, but I'd give it a whirl. I'd like to be there. I'd like to see what it was actually, experience what it was actually like.
That's the thing, isn't it? It was such a time period where, like you say, so many things happened, so many things evolved, and so many things started at that time. So yeah, theatre at that time was just, you know, that would have been beautiful to see, right?
Yeah.
Yay, let's go.
You mean we're not? You invite me and ask me, and then we're not going.
I'm sorry, I think there's something wrong with the guy.
You seem to be timed out now. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, sorry. And what would you say has been the most fun that you've had on a job?
Oh, a job, right. I was going to say, you didn't put that when you asked me.
I say, have I just...
The most fun I'd ever had, and I thought, well, I can't talk about that. But I've flown a Spitfire, so that was weird. So I knew you'd be impressed, yeah. I won it in a competition to fly in a Spitfire, and then of course which was, you know, one of the big things in my life, because I went through every emotion. I was thrilled and excited. Then we got there and they give you the safety video, and I got terrified because they show you the things, they show you how to knock the windows of the cockpit out, lower your seat, pull a pulley up here, take your belt off, and they say, and when the pilot says dive, 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 you dive, and you can't just jump because you'd hit the tail fin, so you slide down the side of the aircraft to get out. And then they said, and if the pilot hasn't got time to say dive, 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 just follow what he does. So now I'm utterly terrified. Then we were at Biggin Hill, so as we went along the runway and we had to wait for our place, just thinking of all the men and boys who died, taken off, never come back. And then just the thrill of it, the noise, and it is like your flight, it's like extended arms. It's everything you do as a child when you go, whoa, and you feel like that. It's very human, human scale. So it's so consummate and thrilling. And then we got to the point where the pilot said to me, and do you want to take over now? Because they give you all the instructions about the joystick and what to do. And I could hear my voice go, are you sure? I don't know. And he went,
yes.
Nobody else is. And put his hands in the air. So I flew a Spitfire, and it was wonderful, and you know, to actually just be able to kind of look down those wings. And then when he did take over again, we did a victory roll and things. So it really was just the most moving thing. It was thrilling, and it was very moving to think of all the guys that fought in the war. So, but in the theatre, the most exciting thing, I don't know. Just every time the audience applauds, that's the drug. Yeah. They know you've done your job. You know when you're doing it, if you're doing it right, you know, if they're laughing or if they're crying in the right places and they're responding, and but that drug at the end of them saying, yes, thank you, I've shared, thank you. I understand that, I respond to that. Because that's what we interpret, you know, we're interpreting the world for everybody else. And I think post the pandemic, there'll be a lot of new stories to tell. Yeah. And people want to share that and feel some complicity, and, you know, it's a great shared experience. So the big thrill is the response at the end, I guess, or the silence if it's been very moving. I've been in things where nothing happens for a while because people are just digested, devastated by what they've seen, or there is no easy response. So.
Yeah, just equally as thrilling as getting that huge raucous round of applause.
Yeah, yeah, and them standing up. Woo!
So my last question for you is, what is next for you? Do you know what you're up?
Well, it's really, as you know, it's tough at the moment because there isn't. We are intending to do Midsummer Murders again later in the year. We just opened a play, Our Lady of Blundell Sands, a new Jonathan Harvey play at Liverpool Everyman, and they would like to try and restage that, but, you know, next year.
Yeah.
I am doing, the thing I was rehearsing is a new web series called The Leak, and I'm doing some audio stuff for a company called Big Finish, who do Doctor Who and Torchwood. And so in the next couple of weeks, I'm quite busy, and then we'll just see if Midsummer happens. They're hoping to go in September, October, but we don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? You just have to kind of take each day as it comes, and within our industry we are quite lucky that we've kind of adapted to that, because the moment you go into an audition, you've got to be in the here and now, and then after that point, you don't have a job until they say you've got the job or you've got another audition. So we are quite lucky that we kind of have that mentality already, but it is difficult when you had things in place and you had things planned, and now it's totally all up in the air.
And I just worry for the entire industry. It's going to be like all of life, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
And lots of theatres will go to the wall. I think, it's going to be it's creative though. It's a very fertile place, and people will find other ways of working. And I don't know how we're going to achieve outdoor theatre in England, but in the winter, that's going to be fun.
Bring your umbrella.
But people are creative and will find ways. We've none of us any way of knowing where we're going as a country, or a world at the moment. Really, it's.
I think the blessing, like you said previous, that people will want to tell their stories. People have been creating in this time too, and I think it's like one big ball at the moment, and everybody's dying to get out and do it. But I think as a collective, people have been so creative and productive in this time, and there's going to be so much when we're free, when we're allowed to get out there. There's going to be so much amazing material.
And I think the desire initially will be for entertainment, not necessarily frothy nonsense, but it will have a lighter feel about it. And it will take a year or two for people to plunge their arms up to their elbows and fight, dig at what's happened to us. And that will take a bit of time. But there's going to be an explosion of work. It's shot out of the cannon.
You think the first time somebody stands on the stage again, the first time somebody goes to the theatre again, the first time somebody yells cut, the first time anything like this that that sometimes you're not sick of hearing, but it just becomes mundane when that's your job. But you'll get that real spark and that real fire again that first time that happens.
And we'll all feel a little bit intrepid, won't we, I guess? Everyone, and the audience will. And I've just filled in a theatre survey, asking what would make you go, how will we make you safe? Do you need the ushers to be wearing masks? Do you want to wear a mask? Do we need to find a vaccine? Will you trust us if we say we've cleaned properly? Many, many questions, and it will be different for everyone, won't it?
Yeah.
And it's then finding the way to walk that tightrope that takes us back. It's not a tightrope. One of those, like in the film, the rickety bridge, the bridge made of grass that's kind of wobbles like this, and then a bit drops. Harrison Ford grabs your hand and pulls you back up.
Oh, brilliant. But it's true, isn't it? And I think it is still very uncertain and a bit scary still, but it will get there because it's loved and treasured by too many people for it to not to come back. Theatre, creative arts in general, it's become so many people's lives. It's not going to just disappear off the face of the earth, although it does feel like that sometimes, that we've been forgotten about, and that how are we going to get back, and when are we going to, it is difficult. But I think fundamentally, it's just loved by so many people that it's not where
it ain't going away.
No.
Storytelling is so crucial. There's been a study where people sitting around a campfire, it really is so fundamental to us, that we have to tell stories and engage with one another, and so it will come back.
Well, love to talk and share and create memories from memories,
Yes.
And I think that's the thing. I think it can't go anywhere.
And there's one society that they were very isolated, so their stories hand down through the generations, and they'll talk about, Mr. Jones. My mother knew Mr. Jones. Oh, your mother knew Mr. Jones. Well, my uncle knew Mr. Jones, but Mr. Jones's granny was, and so you get threads and you get bigger meshed stories, and we just have to do it.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And isn't it lovely that you can not know somebody and you can have a chat? Technology is a great thing, she says, not being very good at it, but it is, I promise. But isn't it great that, we don't know each other, we live nowhere near each other, but we still had a lovely chat.
Yes.
And laugh.
I can't hug you.
Yeah, I know, but it's been great, and it's great to laugh, isn't it? Because sometimes that it's easy to forget that something that every day you used to, well, not every day, but most days you'd laugh and not think anything of it. And some days it's you sigh more than anything else.
Yeah, quite despair. Last week I had to go into town, and I was standing near some bus stops waiting for a friend, and then we sat in Cavendish Square at a distance on either end of the bench. But while I was waiting and there weren't many people on the bus, and I looked up at Oxford Street, and that was, not dead, but not many people, and it was I was despairing. You kind of go, oh my goodness, this is not going to, where are we going to go? This is not going to mend easily. But yes, you meet friends and you laugh and you share, again, sharing. You go, yeah, I've been through that. I was in, it was hell a month ago for me, and now it's for you. Or you meet my hairdresser actually, who said, she's in her 40s. She said, I've left home 3 times. She said, I don't know where I'm up and down, And I said, well, where did you go when you left home? She said, I came here to the shop. She said, so now my girls going to the shop when I get upset about anything.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Which makes me furious. So, yeah, we've all got so much, that's going on daily for us at the moment.
Yeah. That's why it's good to chat.
Yeah. I'm going to have I've decided all private barbecues banned, and we have to go to, I have suffered a little bit, and I've decided it's a bit like bonfire night, and we can only go to public barbecues. Okay. I'm just starting a campaign to ban private barbecues. I know this will lose a lot of people. They just all going click, not interested in her now. Grumpy old baggage.
I love it. Brilliant.
Things I care about I never knew I cared about.
So it is. You'll start a conversation with someone and you'll go, I don't think I have an opinion on that. And you go, of course I have an opinion on that. But what is my opinion on that? And then you start, crazy. And then that person that's asked the question goes, why did I ask that question?
Yeah. Why have I opened this box?
Yeah. Woo. Oh, amazing. Well, you take care of yourself, and thank you so much.
And to everyone who watches, all the very best to you.
Amazing. You too. And I'll send you the link when it goes up so you can watch it. Fancy having a watch.
Why are you doing that? Oh no.
I know. It's so funny.
I'll watch other people.
Everyone's like, I'm surprised you've done that, because you can't even listen to yourself back on a recording. And I'm like, oh, it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you go, oh gosh, is that what I sound like? Amazing. Thank you so much. Take care of you.
All the best.
You too. Have a lovely weekend. Bye. Okay, so I was very excited maybe a little bit too excited, but so cool. So I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much, Annette. Lots more great guests still to come. Take care, everyone. Hope the sun is shining where you are. Lots of love.